Hello, folks. Hope everyone's doing well today. There's some pieces I really want to work through and kind of present to you in a very surface layer. So again, take this as you need to and really understand that it's just a bit of information and it's an exercise. It's a hopefully a fun exercise. Um, Depending on where you are on your path, on your life's goals, and kind of how you're feeling on the inside, from a moment to moment basis, this exercise or this piece can be quite exhilarating and kind of fun to lean into and play with. Uh, on the flip side as well, if you're noticing or if you're finding that you are in a little bit of a struggle, going through this exercise can actually be quite challenging. And so I just encourage you, again, we're just going to go into surface layer on this one. But I think it's important. I was really feeling a lot coming up, and I'm just going to go from a place from myself, a lot coming up for myself, but also really understanding what's going on in my group, in my community, in my collective, and what I'm witnessing. So this is kind of a combination from yesterday, and it's going to hopefully create a little bit of support, some structure towards allowing. First of all, allowing is a really fundamental and very, very powerful tool. A lot of misunderstanding around allowing is that it can be just giving up, and that you're not doing any actual action, or you're not, fixing the problem. You're not doing something, so then therefore you're failing. And I really question, and I almost kind of challenge that thought process, because a lot of the time when we are getting triggered by life, our automatic thing is to try to look outside of ourselves to fix things or to change our scenario. And that's not a bad thing. However, how we end up going about it can sometimes be two ways. We go, 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 and push, 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 kind of like a bull, and just it doesn't matter what's happening, or it doesn't matter who I maybe hurt, or what I trigger in other people. I'm working on something, and therefore that's all that matters. And this is just, it's a piece that happens, and it's just one way of kind of dealing with big emotions that might be coming up inside of us. Allowing is kind of the reverse of that. Allowing is being able to take a step back and witnessing things and slowing things down. When you're going into a situation head on, and you're go, 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 and you're trying to fix, 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 or you're trying to focus so intently, no matter what's going on around you, not always, but a lot of the time, what can happen is we kind of almost get ourselves stuck into a scenario where we're pinned, we can't see what's going on, and this sense of overwhelm and dread, and just some of those emotions or those feelings that we can't always quite pinpoint where they're coming from, is usually because we've gotten ourselves into a tight situation, and we haven't taken a step back to really gauge what's going on around us, and what's going on, and who is there and supporting us and there to help, and who is possibly, like, not, doesn't mean, I'm going to come around this two ways, doesn't mean that the people in our life aren't being supportive, but sometimes, as I mentioned in our video yesterday, sometimes there is certain people that will highlight us, and will help us grow in a situation, grow forward. And then those, exactly within the same group of friends or family or whatever, they can sometimes, without intention, without meaning to, kind of hold us back or hold us from moving forward, if that makes sense. So today, and the kind of the work, the little bit of, it's a visualization meditation, but it's also, if you have a pen and paper, it's also something that you can actively be doing throughout your time when you're having a really hard time figuring out what your need and want is. Need and want is two very different dynamics, and we're just going to go into it in a little bit of a casual way, so that when we go into the deeper aspects of it, which we might end up doing tomorrow, it'll just, you can kind of peel away the layers. So again, the very first format that I really want you to look at is, this is a place from going into a situation or into a life, um, choices, where you're going head on and you're in it, and you're doing so much, and it can feel like you're just exhausting yourself, because it feels like you're doing so much, you're doing so much, but you still don't feel like you're getting anywhere. And the allowing, and that word in and of itself has so much more meaning, and you can unpack that word, but the allowing simply means to take a step back. Most often you do need to give yourself a little bit of self-care, compassion, because if you go to take a step back, it can almost feel inside, and usually in the ego brain, that you have failed, because now you're not pushing yourself to succeed, or you're not pushing yourself to get through this situation. Sit with that. That's okay if you are feeling that, or if that's coming up for you even as we do this exercise. However, I can honestly say, and I have witnessed with my clients, for my own self, my own personal experience, when you allow things to come at you, when you allow life, when you allow people, when you allow situations to come at you, and you're in a really calm, really just, okay, I'm okay with whatever's coming at me. I'm okay with what's occurring, what's happening around me. And okay does not mean being complacent. So again, we're going to be unloading this. It's a big mind shake up, but to allow what's coming at you just doesn't mean you're face to face with it and you're not actually seeing things from all of the angles. You can make a more educated decision. That's how I'm going to phrase that. So when you allow things to come at you, you can see it kind of coming at you. You have some space and you have some time to be like, okay, this is kind of happening, and I see it, and I'm noticing what's occurring within myself. How do I choose to respond, instead of being activated right away and just automatically responding with a lot of, um, not always as much space, so that you can't always respond maybe the way you want to. Yeah, so we're just going to put a pin in there. We're going to do some of the work. So I talked about the needs and wants. So to actually ask yourself and really feel like you know what your needs, and when I say no, like that inner need and that inner want, that comes from a space that is working for your highest good over the long term, over your lifetime. So sometimes what can occur when we set that intention, when we set that, this is what I need in my life right now, this is what I want in my life right now. When we begin to get really clear on those, it'll start to take us down very interesting, very at times can feel like weaving kind of outside of where we want to be going. Trust the process, trust what is going on within, and sometimes you pick up some challenging times along the way, but those challenging times are literally giving you tools in your proverbial toolbox. That's truly, and I've seen it and witnessed it time and time again. Every time we doubt something, ooh, be mindful, because when you doubt something is working for you and you kind of feel like you're getting drawn off track, a lot of the time those are the golden nuggets that you, when you look back, of course, if all of us could have the opportunity of just speeding into the future and looking back, be like, oh, it did all turn out well. This is what I want you to do, kind of in the trust process of going through this exercise. Trust whatever's coming forward. Trust that it very well has, pieces to it that might take you on weaving journeys, but also just allow whatever's coming forward without judgment, without trying to finish it or complete it. If it's only half an idea, that's okay. Okay, I'm a little, I'm a little tired this morning. Woo, my mind and my body. There we go. We're going to connect everything. So get those hands going. Now for today and for myself, again, as we get the hands moving, I'm definitely feeling the energy. And I need to bring my mind and my body kind of back together. So I'm just going to activate things and just kind of visualize bringing everything back to my center, back to my heart center, back to my head space. Just bringing those two areas. So again, allowing the transfer of heat here, the transfer of energy in between the hands. Wherever you are, for this one, you again might need a pen and paper, or if you're more of a mind thinker, You can maybe do this exercise in your mind and just work through a visualization. You know yourself best. So when it comes to creating and really getting clear on your concepts, on your life, do you choose to have things in written form, or do you choose to just think about it and mull it over and allow the creative process to happen? So whichever one works for you, set yourself up. And okay, that's better. So moving forward, the very first thing that we're going to focus on is what is needs and wants. That clarification in words. Words have power, especially when we're tuning in and we're beginning to tap into our inner knowing. So, need is something that is needed. And to be perfectly honest, most humans have a lot of the basic needs are the same. So, what you will need is something to allow you to not only survive, but also to thrive. Some people feel like needs are food and water, shelter, and possibly community. And yes, those are very valuable needs. But needs also transfer into the unique individual. So needs are an understanding of what type of food, what kind of food works for your body, what type of activity works for your body and your mind, what work scenario, the people you include in your friendship circle, the family that you choose to interact with or choose maybe to create some solid boundaries and space with. These are all needs. These are all fundamental needs to allow yourself to stay in a place of balance and to really keep yourself in a good mental, emotional, and physical well-being container. So when you begin to work through your needs, just kind of mull that over a little bit. I have had lots of conversations with people. It's interesting when I'm kind of working in my program right now, just helping people to really define what their needs and their wants are. This conversation keeps on coming forward that needs is it's important, but it's not necessarily where a lot of people put their focus on. And it's interesting, but a lot of the society, even, commercialism, marketing, everything is geared towards activating our wants, desire, because a lot of the time our wants is kind of that part in our brain that goes into a lack, or I am lacking thereof. Therefore, I feel incomplete. Therefore, I feel, unsuccessful, or whatever the case may be. It kind of feeds this internal mind programming, and it kind of oozes its way into that wants profile, kind of neglecting where our needs are. Our needs is what it will actually make us feel solid in self, will make us feel like we have got this, and make us also feel like we are supportive of self and of the others in our life. So really tuning into your needs is an important foundational piece. And you'd be surprised as you start to peel away the layers of what your needs are, what comes to the surface. So, let's just start from a monetary place. So, money and finances. What are your needs? What do you need to be achieving in your life to get just simply all your needs met, all your things paid off? What does that include? And why are the things on your, let's say, sometimes we have to kind of look at our needs category too and say, like, is this needed or is it more of a want? And beginning to not segregate, but beginning to diversify and go into our needs. What is something that allows me to take care of myself and my family, and what is the stuff that is extra and nice to have. We'll go into wants as well today, but the needs is going to be where our vocal point is, at least for today's kind of meditation. Wants is something that changes and is fluid, and as you evolve as a human and go along your human story and your human experiences, your needs and your needs will stay more solid, and it'll be just a continuous piece that runs a theme throughout your life. Wants are going to be something that kind of continuously, depending on the personality and depending on the person themselves, kind of continuously change and shift as your inner guidance and as your cravings around your environment or around your day-to-day life change. So we're going to, again, I just want to kind of clarify the difference between the two. So needs, important, foundational, that's what allows you to not only survive, but it also thrive within your unique platform in this world. Wants is something that is an extra, and it's a bonus. It's beautiful. It's encouraging to have those wants met. However, you won't diminish. You won't. I can't think of a better way of describing it. You won't fall apart if you don't get those wants. If you don't get them, you'll have maybe regret, or you'll have some other type of emotion that follows that, but it's not going to detriment your health, your well-being. Okay. Now, for a visualization, again, that conversation, that concept of needs and wants, I now want you to just kind of get into a little bit of a meditative space. Now, I'm going to give a little bit of examples so that I can kind of guide you along what some of those needs and wants are. So, needs, financial, sexual, family orientated, what are the needs that you really feel drawn to in a family dynamic? Needs for self. So, very, very important. A lot of the time, what a lot of us kind of put on the back burner is our fundamental needs. And that can include, the type of work you do, the type of activities that you do, the type of food, the things that really create a connection to yourself, meditation, or programs or people that you connect with. And then it's also your community. So how do you interact, and how do you need to interact with your community to keep you at a really balanced place? There's some people that really need to be out and about and in things with others. And then there's others that can kind of be out and about, but then they also really need to have space, alone time, these components of, and sometimes they shy away from expressing it as extrovert, introvert, but I think that's a fairly common concept that people can kind of grasp that idea. And all of us ultimately can be extroverted and introverted depending on how our emotional state is presenting, and how we are engaging with our environment. So those are just a couple of things to kind of begin to cultivate and bring up in your mind's eye. A piece that I've also noticed is when people start to ask the question, well, what do I need in my life? What are my needs? Sometimes it's interesting, blank can kind of come up, or you'll get stuck on one part, or you'll start to feel guilty about some other component or some other part that maybe you've taken on, you wish you didn't, blah, 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 blah. Allow whatever comes to the surface to just be there. Okay, so that allowance is a really, really great theme to work with. It's going to kind of set the tone, and it's going to just allow whatever's coming into your mind as we go into the meditation, as we start to write, or we just start to visualize. We're really making that conscious effort not to be hard on ourselves, or not to go into, kind of a lower vibration place. We want to keep that higher, calm space of just, I'm curious. I'm curious, what do I want? What do I need? Sorry, reclassifying our needs. We are going to focus on our needs. What do I need right now in my life? When I look at my life, what are my needs? And really getting clarity on that. Okay, so the meditation is going to be very simple. There's going to be a little bit of kind of a tuning into the inner system. And so how we're going to do that is we're just going to inhale nice and deep through the nose, exhale nice and long through the nose as well. So it's an inhale and exhale for about 5 to 10 breaths. And as you do that, that's just going to allow our conscious mind to just take a little bit of a back seat. As we relax the body with each inhale and exhale, then we're going to slowly, and I'll encourage you to do this with me. After about 5 to 10 breaths, we're just going to change up the breathing to what we were doing yesterday, which is kind of piggybacking. And then you're going to inhale through the nose. Your tongue is going to be just very gently pushed towards the front of the mouth. And then you're just going to exhale through the mouth very gently, very softly. And with each inhale, you're bringing in and you're opening up to your intuition, or you can visualize it as opening, literally opening your energy, your front body and your back body. You can just open, or sometimes people visualize, like that idea of like a flower blossoming and opening its petals. Another really lovely one for some people is like that sunset. So that lifting, that opening of the sunrise as the sun comes up into the sky. So these are just a few variations, but you can get creative as well. So as you inhale, you're visualizing opening. As you exhale, you're visualizing roots. Okay, and that roots system, or that grounding system, can be, again, visualization. Here's a few examples. If you're choosing to be kind of that opening blossoming effect, roots happen to go very nicely into that. So then you can just visualize your body rooting itself if you're sitting or laying down, or you can just visualize that root going down and into the earth. So what that's doing is that's just really connecting you. When you're going into your intuition, it's beautiful to dream and to live up in this area. But that's part of the opening. So we're opening up our higher self to come in, and then we're grounding it, and we're bringing it into the self and bringing it into this 3D world. Because truly, when we begin to get into our needs and our wants, right now we're focusing on our needs. We want to bring it into this 3D world. Anything that needs to be ever so slightly tweaked or shifted, or maybe we need to set some healthy boundaries or healthy communication to get those needs met. That's all part of bringing it into this 3D world, and we need to ground it. We need to bring it in and trust ourselves that we've got this. Okay, so to begin with, about 5 to 10 breaths. Each of our breathing is going to be very unique and very different, but the inhale and exhale is through the nose. I will just cue you by letting you know, okay, changing up breath, and then we'll go through the second breathing style and working on that visualization to begin to bring that kind of that inner guidance inwards. Okay, so feeling compelled to just kind of work with a little bit of my energy here. You can begin the breathing. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. As we switch up the breathing here, again, now we're going to inhale through the nose with an opening or an allowing, a blossoming, rising of the sun, or any other visualization that really resonates and works for you. So each inhale is through the nose. Each exhale, again, the tongue is just gently pushing towards the front of the mouth so that there's no congestion or there's no holding back through that throat chakra. And as you exhale, it's just a very gentle exhale through the mouth. So once again, the visualization breath meditation here is inhale through the nose and exhale. As you exhale through the mouth, you're visualizing that grounding effect. So you're just letting everything grow heavy. So heavy in the body, You can visualize roots going down and into the earth. You can just visualize the earth itself and all her groundedness. Okay, you can visualize whatever else feels like it's solidifying for you. So the inhale is opening up, allowing, and really just expressing oneself and asking the question, what are my needs? Taking another breath here, maybe two. And then for myself, so I'm a writer. I really need to write things out in order for them to make sense in my mind. So I'm going to just get a piece of paper here and begin to write out my wants. And as I do this one actually as part of my own personal practice, and it's one that I do regularly with my clients as well. So when you're doing this, understand that it's just re-clarifying. If anything changes or if something comes up really highlighted in your wants, do a little star. Or if you're not a writer like myself and you just choose to just kind of go into that deep, relaxed state and stay in that state and just asking your questions, what do I need? What do I need right now? Then that would be a really beautiful way of going about this as well. So we're just taking just a couple of minutes. This is one that you can do obviously for much longer after this video, but just taking a couple of minutes here. Sometimes it's nice just to kind of be like, oh, okay, this is a container of time that I can do this. Sometimes what we do, and it's interesting, this is some of our triggers, our avoidance tendencies, is we can really enjoy something to a certain point, and then all of a sudden when it comes down to doing the work, we can kind of just put it off to the side. So I encourage you, even if it's just for 2 minutes, write it down, jot it down, or really visualize and see what it feels like to have all your needs met. What would that feel like? How would life evolve from there? Yeah, and just kind of tune into that. So I finished mine. We're just going to end here with just a little bit of kind of tuning in and really connecting to whatever came forward for you. And again, you might have taken that very literal and made those needs, um, very specific to what your needs are right now, or you might have taken those needs and that concept into kind of a life. So making it really much bigger. There's no right or wrong, and I really wanted to keep it very loose without creating too much structure around, what are my needs for today? What are my needs for my lifetime? So it could have been any of the above or anywhere in between. So get creative, and if you need to continue to kind of take some space after this video ends, please feel free. Please do that. This is one that it's really valuable. I think that a lot of the time when we go and we're really feeling hesitant in our life, it's because we don't have a solid idea of what our needs and our wants are, or maybe they're just so intermixed that can feel very confused and very overwhelming. So this can be just one really wonderful tool to kind of add to your toolbox. I hope you found some insight or some pieces, some of your unique pieces. And thank you so much for joining.